Hey, welcome to the Bluejay Banter Postgame Show. We are live here at the Let It Fly Sports Bar in downtown Omaha, where an excited group of people watch the Jays knock off Butler 80-76 to get that first coveted two-road win of the season. Joined by my partner, Austin Chapman. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing great. Good to get a road win, huh?
Yep. We needed that. Definitely. A lot of minutes played, but we got it.
A lot misplayed by some guys. Yeah. Thanks for viewing us, by the way, on YouTube. Hit that subscribe and like button. It helps us out a ton. By the way, from this point on, the rest of the season, you can come here to Let It Fly and watch our show live on the big screen, and we'll have the volume up for you so you can hear us. We're also going to have a feature coming up where you can write down your name, number, and your question to us. Your questions those cards will go into a big box, and they'll draw out and give you a prize at the end of the night. So,
like that.
A lot of great incentives to come down here, see the show, and participate. For those of you watch on YouTube, make sure you hit that chat feature down below. Ask questions, give comments. Austin and I love those, and we love to answer them and go along with your comments as well. We want to thank our sponsors, CareMinders Home Health Care, Discount Window and Door of Omaha, and BluejayBanter.com. Yeah, it was good. We got off to a good start today. Got up, raced out to 5-point lead, and then it was kind of back and forth I think there was 13 lead changes, something like that in the first half.
Yep. I mean, going into halftime being 0-0, that's generally what you want as a player, no matter what side you're on. But it was just a good Big East game. I think we saw a lot from both teams that, Butler isn't as bad as they look, definitely. And, playing at home, you definitely have a little extra edge. But I think we showed some resilience, and especially the way this season has gone.
The first half we went through a stretch, about a 10, 12-minute stretch here, where I don't think our defense was very good. And you could tell Mac was a little frustrated.
Absolutely.
We were giving up threes to guys who shouldn't have been giving them up. We were late on some switches. We were kind of messing up some ball screens. There wasn't a lot of communication there. And that got them really going. McCafferty's a pretty good three-point. I think he's their best three-point shooter. Yeah. But overall, when you look at the stat sheet, we shut Telford down. Mm-hmm. He was 9 points today. Mm-hmm. That was huge.
That's clear game plan, right? We made more shots than they did at the end of the day. Granted, we shot 33%. Calk hit a couple big ones from beyond the arc, which is huge. And him just having that comfortability behind the line, I think is going to be big for us. And him just being aggressive is going to be large for, our success coming forward. But, I think we did a good job of more or less being able to manage and also being able to get a bucket.
Yeah, they've been holding people at 32% from three this year. Mm-hmm. So they've been doing a good job of that. And you can say, well, who have they played? But they have played UConn and Marquette so far. So they've held teams to 32% from three. So the fact that, we were able to get 33% doesn't sound great, but
we came out on top.
Yeah, it's better than most. And, we've had shooting woes at this place forever. Mm-hmm. Steven, as I pointed out to Austin before we came on, the last two games, he's 2 of 21. Now, I would have bet a lot of money if you told me that before the season started that he was going to have a two-game stretch. I would have not believed you because he is such a great shooter. But despite that, one assist where you'd think that would be the one where he would get one assist away from the triple-double today, which was outstanding. Calk, 1 rebound away from a double-double.
Yep. And to that point of just Ash, I think legs are starting to get to him a little bit. Hitting that lull at the beginning of the season, having the ankle injury, now starting to get back to form a little bit, having enough time to start to get his legs back under him, get healthy. I think it's been huge. Matt kind of put a touch on that past couple of days, that finally getting some guys healthy, finally starting to get a cohesive unit. Fedor starting to work in, too, with a lot of the group that we saw him on the court a lot more. There was a lot to take away from this game, especially from besides our shooting and that aspect of things. I think as far as turnovers go, 6 turnovers. So
now they don't turn it over.
They don't. But we also have turned it over on teams that don't turn it over.
They don't force
too many turnovers. So that's definitely a point of emphasis. And you just kind of saw guys coming to 2-foot stops, being secure with the ball, and just treating it like it's treasure, right? Because at the end of the day, if you don't have the ball, that's the only thing that could really,
I like
win the game.
Treating
So
it like it's treasure.
because that's what
like
it is at the end of the day, right? So
I like it.
I think we saw some good.
Yeah, rebounding for the game. We won the rebounding battle by 3. Yeah, I mean, I think we did a pretty good job. But, in the first half, there wasn't a lot of rebounds. They shot 58%.
Nope, but Ash almost had his double-double already. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of what Butler used to do in the past as well is they let the point guard roam free. They don't really crash on the point guard. So Ash was able, that's credit to Lucas and Mac and a lot of film study, too, of knowing that he's got to get down there and get a little dirty and grab some of those and being able to, when it's a lot easier when the point can grab that off the rim and go ahead and get in transition and get the thing going.
And what's impressive is they were 58% the first half. They shot 47 for the game. So, like we were talking about before we came on air, our defense was so much better in the second half.
Yep.
We had a little more pressure on them. We figured out who are the guys we need to guard. We did a better job on Bizjack, who comes off the bench and is really a volume scorer for them. But Telford, again, Jason Green, you can't say enough about him. Telford tried to get in the lane a few times. And, I know people have kind of been down on Kalk the last few games. Hasn't maybe played the way people would like. But, boy, he just affects that game so much.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, today, again, nobody. And a couple times they thought McCafferty had a nice spin move and scored. So then he thought, well, okay, I can do this. And the next time it's just totally rejected before it gets an inch out of his hand. They're dribbling away. Even their big guys are not shooting the basketball. And you could tell when Fred was in there, Fred is a very physical player, but doesn't have the shot blocking skills that Kalk does, the timing. And then guys were like, okay, a little more comfortable going up. You can just tell how much Kalk affects that game in the middle. And so that's why I think Mac, was upset at times today, because when that happens, when we've got that going, we have got to get on glue on those top 3-point shooters.
And to that point of just Kalk and King's difference, the size difference, of course, makes a difference. But then when you also know you're going against a 3-time Big East player, the defensive player of the year, that's something that's probably in your brain as an offensive player. But he just kind of showed that he potentially is that Big East player of the year. I know he's got a lot of work to do, and he's got to continue what he did tonight or this morning, this afternoon. But, to come to it, I think Kalk is finally knowing that if he doesn't produce and do what he does at a high level, we won't succeed, and we won't have too much success. And I think he's just looking comfortable, shooting the ball, filling the ball, holding on. A lot of that just looks a little more of like comfortability, but also just knowing that he should just dominate the player, that more or less is opposing him. And I think, yes, it was a little bit weaker opponent, in my eyes,
especially in the post.
Right, yeah. That where he maybe had a little more confidence, right, to actually feel like, hey, I can actually go out there and perform at the level that I'm capable of. But that's just something of just, a confidence standpoint. And I think this is a big confidence builder for him, especially going in. We got one at home and then going in on the road next weekend. That I'm just looking forward to see how this goes. Because generally, January, late January, February, we kind of hit that lull. And I think right now, being able to have those couple weeks off that we had in those long extended periods and having time off from school and now coming into the second semester, that I like the way we're trending.
Yeah, and Kalk today was some elite post moves.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's kind of what the fans have been looking for, is like when he gets it on the block. And it's so great at home games. He gets the ball and the whole crowd just you can feel that rise. Yep. And they're like, okay, go to work. And today he had elite post moves. I mean, they had one guy who wasn't very elite offensively, maybe a little more physical. Then they had another guy in the post who liked to shoot threes, and he was very effective shooting threes. Yep. But we didn't see Klingman, for instance, a guy like that, or even Johnson for UConn this year. So Kalk, yes, you're right. He did have, and then Kalk last year he hit 3 threes at this place, and I think he did he hit 3 again?
Yeah. Oh yeah, 3 or 5, I believe.
Yeah. So he hit 3 2 years in a row. He's hit 3 threes.
He might like the place,
which is which we have guards like you guys. You can't throw it in the ocean there.
Not the high,
but Kalk's able to knock him down.
He likes the place. Clearly,
maybe he's so tall that the screwed up background doesn't screw him up.
The light difference doesn't really bother him a little bit, but to each his own. But at least we started off shooting great. Like to your point, I just think we got to a slower start, moving our feet a little bit defensively, and maybe the earlier game and being a little sluggish has a little part to do with that. To where like you said in the second half, being able to actually start getting back to reads and what the actual game plan was, and maybe wake some people up.
It was a cloudy day in Indy today, so no light shining through, no light blasting people in press row in the face. Huge 2 in the second half. Jemiah took over.
Absolutely.
Took over.
Absolutely.
And that's what we need. That's what we need out of him.
Yeah, because it's not always going to be Kalk or Ash performing the entire game. And that's any team you go with, right? You got to have other individuals step up and be confident in self. And I think that's what he kind of showed in the second half, knowing that to be able to split this gap, we're going to have some other individuals pitch in. And he was able to provide some a lot of good offense for us.
Probably, and this is, I don't know, people are going to think this is probably a stretch to say this, but I think today may have been between the foursome, Jason Green, Jackson McAndrew, Isaac Trout, Mason Miller, combined. I think today was their best performance if you put all 4 together. Didn't have any turnovers really from those guys. Mason gave us energy, didn't take any shots, but was giving us good energy out there. Isaac hit that big shot in the corner, which was, according to my stat sheet, showed he only got a 2 for that one. Yeah,
foot on line.
Looked like a 3. Jackson went, was he 4 of 7? Yeah, 4 of 7 from 3. Huge for us.
Jackson was great.
And Jason obviously guarding Telford and giving us really good minutes defensively.
Absolutely.
So I think, if you combine it all together, their stats aren't going to jump out at you besides Jackson, again, getting into double figures. But I think combined, we didn't have any gas. And I thought Isaac did a really good job defensively as well when he came in. So the other thing early on, we talked about early on getting a good start, and Robbie Hummel was benching this several times. He was like, look, if you're not going to get back, this is going to be a blowout, because we were, for the first time all year, we were getting easy baskets in transition. We really haven't had that happen hardly at all this year. And today we got a bunch of them.
Yeah. I would say we started the season that way. And I think some of that's just been, the high turnovers that we have had. And I think that's just kind of some of what Max teams do is run in transition. Especially when you have a big like Kalkbrenner who generally runs the court. That's been a lot of teams' game plan, and we were just kind of able to take advantage tonight. This morning, sorry, that like you're saying tonight. That it was good to see, and especially just that we were able to take care of the ball.
And weirdly, a lot of our transition were to our bigs. I think Fred got 1. I think Kalk got about 4 or 5. I mean, they were just long passes where our big guys were beating their big guys down the court.
And a big key to that, honestly, that most people don't know is getting the ball out quick, right? So when you know your roles and you know who's a 4, who's a 3, who's a 2, that force is generally taking the ball out, and that's his only job, not having to sprint the court, right? And then the big's kind of spring as fast as he can down lane. And being able to kind of have a point like Ash has his eyes up, it's huge.
I also feel like most teams that we play now, they throw a shot up, and the ball's barely left the shooter's hand, and you can see 4 guys sprinting back. Yep. Like it's so ingrained in them, you got to get back. Today, Butler was a little bit lax in doing that. I don't know if they thought
they were crashing a little bit too.
Yeah,
they were crashing the paint a little bit, and I think sending a little more than generally most people do, to the rim. But also, they're at a place they've lost X amount of games that now it's kind of make or break. So I think, if you miss, an offensive shot, everybody might crash and try to get a second chance, So some of that desperation type things that I think, Thad might have going. But, we took advantage at the end of the day. And, to our part, it worked.
Hey, thanks for watching us. If you're just joining on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and also hit the chat. Give us some chats. We'd love to hear your thoughts and comments on the game. I want to kick it off by talking about one of our primary sponsors, CareMinders Home Health Care, located right here in Omaha. When you're in need of care for your injured, ill, or senior loved one, reach out to CareMinders Home Health Care. Their agency is comprised of certified caregivers who have many years of experience. You'll receive versatile, flexible, and customized care for your comfort, peace of mind, and well-being. And just remember, if you're not ready for their services yet, no problem. Go to caremindersnebraska.com. Check out all they have to offer. And then if you have further questions, give them a call, 402-532-1383. That's CareMinders Home Health Care. Thanks for being a great sponsor. I got to say this before I forget, because I want to mention this because this is so important to our conference. Isn't it great to turn on a Georgetown home game and see all the people, all the seats filled in the camera?
Yep.
Right? Like, look at that.
Yep.
They're all, there's no empty. Usually you flip on a Georgetown game, half those seats are empty. It's all full today. That's awesome.
It's a different Georgetown right now.
We need Georgetown to have crowds like this and to be relevant in the Big East for our conference to really super succeed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. With the history that they have behind the university and the program, I think Cooley was a great hire. And he'll get that thing moving in the right direction eventually. You see this year they're kind of playing with not his maybe greatest talent, but they're figuring a way, and they're having a pretty successful year that,
Good start.
I'm really hyped to see the way the rest of the season folds out.
And I love the old time light blue uniforms. They're sweet.
Oh yeah.
Unsung Hero Day. Who you got?
I'm gonna go with Mason Miller, honestly. Granted, he didn't put in much at the rim. Trying to find his way in different roles, right? Stat sheet might not attest to what he did. He had a couple fouls that more or less, or two coming in, being somewhat of the physicality aspect.
You know what? That one foul though was a really good foul because they were off on the break, and he fouled the guy. Had he not fouled the guy, it would probably been like a 4-on-2.
Heady play.
Yeah.
And that just comes down to his, basketball background and who he is. And I think, he's working through some struggles right now, and just kind of see him too being able to find his role and just what he's doing now and still take it at a high level is a testament to who he is as a person, at the end of the day. So I think he's the unsung hero, honestly. Not playing the minutes he maybe wants to play, not starting in one of the starting roles, but still coming out there and providing us, the effort and the energy that is needed, I think is huge.
And to Mac's credit, keeping him involved.
Yep.
It'd be so easy to go, he hasn't been doing it. I'm not going to put him in. And then the guy gets his head down and, it just snowballs.
Yep.
And he's done that with Fedor, the games so far too. He gets him in for 3 or 4 minutes, gets a feed. Fedor looked better out there today.
Yeah. Had
an open look, didn't knock it down, but hey, he looked better out there today.
Looks a little more comfortable.
Didn't turn it over, didn't had some of the bad turnovers we'd seen in the past. So, I kind of feel like it's starting to come together. And like you mentioned earlier, this was a 4 out of 5 on the road stretch here. Okay. And we had Marquette, and now we had Butler, and now we come home to play Providence. Okay. A team, certainly, we're going to be like an 8 or 9 point favorite in that game. Okay. A game we should win. Then we go on the road to UConn, and then I believe we go on the road to DePaul. So you look at that and you say, and then we come home to Seton Hall. Okay, probably the worst team in the league. So we got a nice little stretch here.
We do.
And I think after that we play Xavier. I think so. That's a nice 4-3-4. Today it was 5. We can take 5 out of 6 in this stretch. I hate to get too far ahead of yourself.
That's the hope.
Okay?
That's the hope. That's the hope.
But that, losing on the road to UConn, no shame in that, right? No matter what happens. But you want to win one. That would be great if we could steal one. But that put us at 7-3 in the league. Now, now you're sitting in really nice shape.
Yeah, and I just think some of these
confidence it builds.
Some of these games are just confidence builders too. So like we might go into UConn and be, might surprise them ourselves, right?
Might be like a Marquette game where I think we came away with positives there.
Absolutely.
And some of those positives showed up today.
Yeah, and we could easily came away with a W at Marquette. Yeah. And I think some of that is too, right? We're playing with some younger players that aren't experienced. McAndrews showed a lot tonight that I think that's just only going to build going in the future. And then maybe at UConn, he might not miss, right? Or Trout might come in not miss. Right. And it's just some of those games that too, some of the basketball gods kind of speak down, and it's in the air a little bit. So we'll see. And I'm just kind of excited, honestly, because I think one, as a unit, they're starting to have some cohesion, which is great. And they're trusting in guys. Next guy up, some guys falls down. They're stepping into the role that maybe in the role that they thought they should be in, especially in the space that we are in. In college athletics right now. That it's just really fun to see, especially as an alum, as players taking that.
Yeah, and man, you talked about Isaac. That was a big shot he hit today too.
Yeah,
and he wasn't like one of those where he's normally just stand still in the corner, gets the ball, right? He was on the move a little bit, and because I think it had gone to a 5-point game at that point. Mm-hmm. I mean, he misses that, they come down to 3. It's a 2-point game, right? He knocks that down. Big. That was a momentum killer for them.
Absolutely.
That was a huge shot.
Absolutely. Jemiah, though, too, I would put him as second unsung. I don't know who you have.
He was
yet.
A star today,
but
really.
To be able to, actually put some things on his back in that second half, I think was what we needed. Yeah. I don't think we honestly come out with the win if we don't have his performance.
14 points, 7 assists. He had 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Okay, yeah. Couldn't knock down 3 today, but he had a steal and only 1 turnover. That's we. That was a nice stretch there where, Ash was off a little bit shooting today, and Kalk we had been riding Kalk. For him to take over at that point, and let's not diminish the fact that Kalk had some nice picks in there to get him to the lane and get him open.
Oh yeah, we all they all did though. King had one that released him for that one at the brim, in the first half, but. I think that's probably a point of emphasis, too, because I think we picked up just some easy turnovers off of just being lazy on setting screens, having feet set, and as a big and especially as a guard, generally, we're taught that's the guard's fault, generally. But, I think our bigs have kind of releasing a little bit early and trying to get to that rim, to get to that lob. And now the guards are second-guessing, throwing something that isn't there, and now we have a turnover. So just cleaning up some of the inefficiencies, I wish, it's hard to see from the naked eye, but some of that is good to see.
Before we get to our other feature, we want to talk about Discount Window and Door of Omaha. Fabulous company. We want to thank John and his staff over there so much for supporting us this year. And, with years of experience and a solid reputation for excellence, they've earned the trust and loyalty of homeowners, and it separates them from other window companies in Omaha and surrounding areas. Count on them for reliable service, quality products, and unmatched professionalism from start to finish. They did windows in my house. We've noticed a big decrease in our heating bills and energy bills, and you can see the nice look of the white window on the right, how they made it look so nice. And just fabulous from start to finish. I can't tell you how easy it was for me. They come in, they show you what they have. An installer will come back to measure again, second time. And then when they come in, I'm thinking, no, this is going to be an all-day thing, right? No, they're out of there in like 3 hours, totally finished. And they needed to do a little extra work. John himself, head of the company, came out and touched up a few things and just to double check and make sure we were happy with everything. And so couldn't be more pleased start to finish. And I had another company come to my door yesterday wondering about my windows. And I just basically told them, hey, this company did it for me, and they were fantastic. So that is Discount Window and Door of Omaha, 402-884-8989. Here's the number again, 402-884-8989. Worst call of the night, I will say it was numerous ones. Kalkbrenner got mauled in there a couple times and no whistle. And Robbie Hummel was even saying, man, that's just a foul. How can they not call that?
I think when you're actually on the level, too, with those guys, and you see this guy that's as large as he is and, at the stature that he is, some of that's just not going to be calls, right?
But I mean, when they're grabbing his arm.
Yeah, but some of that is like the ref believes of like, hey, this guy is strong enough to be able to kind of get through that. And a lot of that is, hey, if he gets it up at this rim or it's on the rim, I'll probably call that. And generally it's some of that, making a good game too, right?
No.
To where, but I'll give you, he was getting slapped around a little bit, but
I will say they let some physicality on our end go too, though, where a couple times I thought there was going to be a whistle and there wasn't. So probably even now. But I know Mac, I could see Mac was riding him pretty hard there a couple of times. Like, hey, come on, we're getting killed inside there.
But I think they also know too. We do foul as much as we don't see it on paper. We foul, right? We do. We've
got that reputation.
We've always fouled, and it might not show up on paper, but we foul in ways that, maybe aren't seen by the referee. But
so some of that in the old days, like in the ACC, right? People always say, "Well, Duke never gets called for any fouls."
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
But some of that is refs start to build somewhat of their own determination around what's going on. So they try to put their hands around the game, and generally that's not a great thing. But we came out with the victory today, and I'm more impressed with that.
And generally speaking, too, I mean, Mac, I think, even though Mac works the officials very well, he has a really good camaraderie with the officials.
Yeah.
Versus, and Hurley settled down a little bit, but Hurley was going nuts there, I think it was 2 years ago, and the officials went to the league and said, hey, we're just not going to take this anymore. We're tired of it.
Yep.
The same way they did with his brother at Arizona State. So I think, you're never going to see that with Mac. Mac rides him hard, but maybe I've seen Mac get one technical in all the years he's been here.
It, honestly, and just being, a player of history. A lot of that, too, comes down to the players, right? As now we see Ash kind of going and talking to.
Yes.
So generally a lot of that, he's able to displace it in different ways that might not sound like, the coach in the moment might be the individual as a part of what's actually transpiring. So, he's a cerebral chess player, I like to say.
Funny you mentioned that. So Wednesday night, each year at a golf tournament, we have a silent auction item where you can bid on a dinner for 6 of you with a player and a coach, and we've had Ashworth the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. And, so they pepper him with all these questions, and, it was a wide range from academics to transfer portal to NIL to on the court to referees, and Ash told a couple stories about how he really works hard at knowing their names, talking to them, not screaming at them, talking to them. And in turn, some of the refs have known, and I won't mention the ref, but if you watch college basketball, I'll guarantee you're going to see this guy 3 times a week, okay? He does that many big games. Mm-hmm. Know that, and he will go to Ash and go, hey, if you need anything, just let me know.
Yep.
And so Ash said one time he needed about 10 seconds before free throw. He goes, hey, I need a second. And the ref went over, get a towel, had to wipe the basketball down, even though it didn't need to be wiped, to give him that, So that's what you get versus, I don't know, name your favorite NBA player that complains all the time. There's a lot of them.
There's a lot. I won't even do that.
You know what I mean? But those refs are not going to give that guy.
No, they're not. And that's just any ref. Yeah. And it's just they're humans too at the end of the day, right? And they like to be talked to as respectable individuals. So it's like if you come with them with respect, they're generally going to give you maybe some calls that maybe weren't there at times, and some just benefit of doubts at the end of the day that block, charge. Block, so some of that, it does boil down to them being, in the game and in the moment. And that's some of my next point, I guess, with fans, if we're really harping on the official, you really start to see that get under skin at times too. Granted, that's not supposed to happen, but bias is generally supposed to dictate, their calls and officiating, but they're humans at the end of the day, right? So like, that's just the nature of it.
Yeah. I kind of see refs though, like, if the home crowd is really on them, I think there are times when, over not just one call, I'm talking over a period of calls, then that next call, they will kind of give that home team a little edge because they don't want to hear it anymore, you know. But yeah. By the way, fans, I just want to let you know, after our dinner the other night, we pretty much have mapped out Stephen Ashworth's future career. We said, yeah, you got to be a coach.
That's fair. That's fair.
Because he's a coach on the floor. He's a coach at practice. I was telling about the time a couple weeks ago, he actually took a whiteboard away from one of the assistants and went out in the court in the middle of practice. I mean, he's just such a coach and so valuable to our team this year, especially with Pop, who's experienced but very quiet. You know, a leader in a different way.
Yeah.
So
and I think this, being his 50th year or so, that I think he's seen a lot too, and Mac does a great job too of building leaders, as we've seen too with his coaching tree. That at the end of the day, that's the guy who's going to be the extension of the coach on the court. That you have to more or less make him, the assistant. That more or less is patrolling the guys. So, yes, he has a great voice for it, and I just think he has a great mind for it too. I think that's where his heart.
You brought up coaching tree, and I just popped in my head. So my bracketology, you can view that at bracketville.com. But the last bracket I had, listen to these guys that work for Mac. TJ at Iowa State in the field. Patrick Sellers, Central Connecticut State in the field.
Really?
Well, they were leading their conference.
All right, I didn't know this.
Al Huss, leading their conference in the field.
Yep.
D-Rock as an at-large at West Virginia. Who am I missing here?
Lutz.
Lutz not in the field, but first
he's
year
some
at
good
Oklahoma
wins,
State.
And he's at a different.
Just had a good win this week. I'm missing somebody else too. Anyway, I just Paul Lutz's assistant is at Purdue. There.
Yep.
So I mean, his tree. There was a lot of years where Krzyzewski's getting a few now, but there was a lot of years where he didn't really have many. And
he didn't.
Izzo, you don't see many from Izzo really. And
a lot of those guys,
you don't see many from Self really.
I feel like a lot of those guys generally keep their individuals for a
longer time. I know Self did too.
So
yeah.
Then they get to a
but
place.
Anyway. Mac probably has as good a tree as anybody out there, really.
I honestly think he has one of the best ones.
Yeah. And they're all successful.
Grows.
I mean, incredibly successful.
Jalen is, at LSU assistant, but
they're not having the year they want to have.
But he's built some great individuals, and he's just doing things the right way.
It's kind of mind-boggling when you look at it. So, all right. So Jays win today. They moved to 3-2 in the league. So we got Marquette at top, 5-0. Looking to be very much the team
to beat.
Team to beat. Yep, I would agree. Now, they haven't gone on the road in some tough environments yet, but in fact, I think this is UConn. Well, UConn's had 2 in a row this week. They've had to go to Villanova and now to Georgetown. Not necessarily a tough environment, but a game. Georgetown's playing better now. UConn's up by 8 early on. You have St. John's, UConn, Villanova all tied at 4-1. Of that group, I'd definitely say UConn's the better of the 3. And then St. John's and then Villanova. I'm not sold on Villanova yet, but off to a great start.
I hear you. It's something about them. Big East play gets going. And
Georgetown's 3-1. If they lose today, they'll be 3-2. We're 3-2. Providence 2-3, and then you got Seton Hall 1-3, Xavier 1-4, DePaul 0-5, Butler 0-6. All the teams except Marquette play today. So there's some games later on today. There's a really good one, Villanova and St. John's later today.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. So that'll break up that tie. So one of those is going to drop down to 3-2. So we're going to be in a 3-way logjam more than likely with
I'd say at the Garden too, man. Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah,
that'll be
no
fun.
kidding.
Yeah, I'm definitely tuning into that one.
Hopefully that Ravens game's a blowout, so we can flip over and watch that game.
Well, I'll be watching this anyways, but I'm an Eagles fan, so yeah, that'll be fun.
Ooh, Eagles.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So
we got Pack tomorrow.
What do you think? You feel good?
Yeah. I feel good. I feel good.
Wish I felt as good.
I feel good. I hear you.
I felt good about my team. I feel a lot better we're playing in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Because Phoenix is packed with Viking fans that have moved down there from Minnesota. So
Yep.
that stadium's going to be 3/4. That's going to be like a home game. So I'm feeling better about it. But
That's nice.
Anyway.
Neutral zone.
yeah, I just hope Dan, my buddy in Detroit, didn't jinx us by going up to O'Connell after the game going, see you in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the Rams have posted that in their locker room. It's like, oh, my
A
word.
little motivation.
Yeah, all right. So I like it. I like what happened. Now we get to come home, get a game. I think the crowd will be, I think the fan base will be a little more engaged here now after seeing today and getting that road win. And now we got a team we can handle at home. I look forward to a real nice atmosphere on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Right here at the CHI.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Austin.
School's
Thanks
back
a
in play.
lot. There will be no Bluejay Banter on Monday, but we will be back with you on Wednesday right after the Providence game right here at Let It Fly. You can come down and listen to the show. And as I said, get in that contest we will have. So thanks so much. Again, on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe and like buttons. It helps us out a ton. And we will see you on Wednesday.